Good morning, everyone. It's quite early in the AM at the time of this recording, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible since everyone else in the house is asleep. I was going to talk about some other stuff, but I'm not going to do that. Everything else that happened at D23, etc., etc. But kind of glad Spidey's not at Disney no more. As I saw way too much of a monopoly and they got enough on their hands trying to fix Star Wars, right? So let's get into these books. Got a lot of books this week. These next 2 weeks is going to be huge when it comes to comic books, variant covers, and a couple of new books. But we're going to start with DC Comics. We got a Batman 181 from back in the day, facsimile, which I believe is the first appearance of Poison Ivy. So it'd be nice to pick those up. Facsimiles are always good to have now, especially when the books are out of our price range. We got Doomsday Clock number 11, which finally comes out. I guess Shazam will be next. From Out of the Gate of Lateness by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. And Gary Frank is doing both covers. Green Lantern number 11 by Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp. Liam Sharp is doing cover A, and Paul Hope is doing cover B. I think this only has 2 or 3 issues left and it's done. And then he's doing some Dark Star, Green Lantern type book. Go figure. Justice League 31, which I thought came out this week, but which was Justice League 30. But 2 Justice League books 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, let's see if that happens. By Scott Snyder and Jorge Jimenez. Cover A is by Francis Manapul, and cover B is by Julian Totino Tedesco. Brian Michael Bendis' new book, The Legion of Superheroes Millennium, and that's by Brian Michael Bendis and Jim Lee. Cover A is by Ryan Sook, who will be the regular pencil on the regular series for this book, and cover B is by Brian Hitch. Moving over to Image Comics, we have Die number 7 by Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans. Stephanie Hans is doing cover A, and Matteo Laffrey is doing cover B. Sea of Stars is by Jason Aaron. I think this is issue number 3 by Jason Aaron and Stephen Green. And there's only one cover for that. I believe Stephen Green is doing that. Section 0 number 6 by Carl Kessel and Tom Grummett. This is the end of this series that it took 10, 15 years to finish. Tom Grummett is doing cover A. Adam Hughes is killing it with the vignette on cover B. And Stuart Emmerman creeps his head out of retirement for cover C. Space Bandits number 3 by Mark Millar and Matteo Scalero. There are a few covers for this. Cover A is by Scalera, and there's also a black and white variant for that. And Walter Simonson is doing cover B. Image's giant book for this week is Spawn number 300 by Todd McFarlane, Scott Snyder, and Greg Capullo and various other artists. And that has a lot of covers. For my cover A, it's the McFarlane cover that he just showed on Instagram. Cover B is Greg Capullo's A cover. Cover C is a Tom McFarlane Greg Capullo cover. Cover D is by J. Scott Campbell. Cover E is by Jerome Opina. Cover F is by Jason Sean Alexander, who has been penciling most of Spawn of late. G is a Spider-Man 300 homage cover, and cover H is a blank cover. And each artist that is doing a cover for this book is also doing interiors. Todd McFarlane said he just didn't want them doing the cover, but he also wanted them drawing some of the interiors. Got some independent books this week. Berserker Unbound from Dark Horse, #2, by Jeff Lemire and Mike Deodato Jr. That has 2 covers. Deodato is doing cover A, and Andrea Sorrentino is doing cover B. Buffy the Vampire Slayer #8 by Jordi Belair and David Lopez. Cover A is by Mark Espinal. Cover B is by Kevin Wada. And cover C is by Becca Kari. We have Fallen World #5 by Dan Abnett and Adam Polina. Adam Polina is doing cover A, and Roel Allen is doing cover B. The Goon #6 by Eric Powell and Brett Parson. This book has escalated to coming out extremely quickly also. Cover A is by Eric Powell, and Jeff Smith from Bone is doing cover B. And last, for the independent books, and probably one of the biggest books this week, is Something is Killing the Children #1 by James Tynion and Werther Del Idara. Idara is doing cover A, Jay Lee is doing cover B, and Jenny Frison is doing that awesome cover C, which is a foil cover. And I hope you can get it. This book is sold out everywhere, and I think has already gone to like a 3rd printing, which it's following once in future. It's ridiculous. Don't know if the book is really that good, but it's sold out, and it's going to a 2nd and 3rd printing. For Marvel Comics, we have Absolute Carnage Symbiote Spider-Man #1, and that is by Peter David and Francesco Mobile. And Greg Land is doing both cover A and cover B for that. Alpha Flight True North #1 by Ed Brisson and Scott Hepburn. Cover A is by Nick Bradshaw, and cover B is by Ramon Perez. I think they're coming out with a lot of these books just to try to keep these characters relevant or something. I don't know. Amazing Spider-Man Going Big #1, and that's by Eric Larson. He's coming back to do some stuff on Spider-Man, and I believe Mark Bagley is doing like a backup story in that book also. Whatever. It's way too many Spider-Man books personally. Champions #9 by Jim Zub and Steve Cummings, and Steve Cummings is doing the cover A for that. Conan the Barbarian #9 by Jason Aaron and Gerardo Zaffino. Asad Ribic is doing cover A, and Tom Raney is doing cover B, which is an incentive cover. Here where the water gets a little muddy. Fantastic Four 14 by Dan Slott and Sean Izoske. This has various Immortal Hulk wraparound covers, but I'm only putting 2. Cover A is by Mike Deodato Jr. Cover B, which is an Immortal Hulk wraparound of The Thing, is by Mike McCone, and we have an Invisible Woman Immortal Hulk wraparound cover by Christian Ward. Future Foundation #2 by Jeremy Whitley and Will Robson. Cover A is by Carlos Pacheco, and cover B, which I don't know why it's an incentive cover, is by Humberto Ramos, which is very nice. House of X #4 by Jonathan Hickman and Pepe Larraz. Another book, if you didn't order it, you just won't be getting it most likely. Cover A is by Pepe Larraz. Cover B is a connecting cover by George Molina, which it has the old blue and yellow outfits. Cover C is by Juan Cabal. That's the Decades cover with Archangel on it, I believe. Cover D is an action figure cover. Cover E is by Scotty Young. Cover F, I believe, is an incentive cover by Mike Huddleston. And cover G is the flower cover by Sarah Pacelli. Is that a street sweeper? Oh my God, I can't get a break this morning. Anyway, I'm not going to stop. Immortal Hulk number 23 by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. And this has to be the best wraparound cover out of all of them. Cover A is by Alex Ross, and Dale Keown is doing the Red Harpy wraparound cover for this book, and it is outstanding. Savage Avengers number 5 by Jerry Dugan and Mike Deodato Jr. Cover A is by David Finch. Cover B is by Valerio Shitai, and that is a wraparound cover of Brother Voodoo. And Marvel Comics also has a facsimile this week. It's of Spider-Woman number 1, which I'm glad to own the original of that, but I will be picking up a facsimile edition of that also because it's shiny. Star Wars 71 by Greg Pak and Phil Noto, and I only have cover A, which is done by Phil Noto, but that also has a action figure cover and some other cover, which I do not have the pictures for. And that is it for the week of September 4th coming up. And it seems like, especially with the Powers of X, House of X books, and some of these #1 independent books, you must hop on these books immediately because the aftermarket is just jacking up the price. That Once and Future #1 second printing is going for $90 on eBay. And some of these House of X, Powers of 10 books, and even some other books, the day, New Comic Book Day, Wednesday, the books are going for $15, $20 on eBay, which is just ridiculous. I mean, the books are $4 to $5, and they jack the prices up 3 to 4 times the day the book comes up. You can get up on Wednesday morning, and the books are $15 to $20 on eBay. It's retarded. But anyway, covers of the week, we have Doomsday Clock number 11, cover B, with Black Adam and Company. Very nice to finally have that. Immortal Hulk 23, that's the Dale Keown Immortal Hulk wraparound cover. Section 0 number 6. Excuse me, that's Section 0 number 6, the Adam Hughes cover. House of X number 4, the George Molina connecting cover. And Something is Killing the Children #1, the Jenny Fresen foil cover. As for the books of the week, of course, I'm going to put Spawn 300. Take your pick of the cover. Doomsday Clock number 11, even though it's late, it's an excellent read. House of X number 4, wonderful book. And of course, Something is Killing the Children #1. Take your pick for the covers of that. Hopefully you can get that foil cover. Hopefully you can get cover A if it's available anywhere. So I'll check you guys out when I can. I will catch you at the same bad time and at the same bad channel. Peace.